What am I? A lot of people say that I am spreading propaganda, but is that true? Of course not. I am a conservative leaning person. I am not going to sit here and say that I'm 100% neutral and I'm going to have zero opinion on anything, and I'm only going to talk about things that are split in the middle. That's not how things work. Since I am conservative though, I like to cover conservative things, and if you don't like it, fine, that's good for you. Swipe up, tap on the video over here, swipe down on the video, get rid of my video. I'm not holding you hostage. You do not need to stay here and watch the whole entire video, okay? That's fine. It's not for you. I completely understand, but I don't understand how you think that's propaganda. It's an opinion show, so I'm giving you my opinion. Also, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, so there are times that I disagree with Republicans, and that's fine. I would rather side with my own party at the end of the day, which is conservatives. But since there's no mainstream conservative on the Republican or Democratic or independent side, I'm going to stick with the Republican side because they actually know what a woman is. But not just that. They have a lot of more common sense. Now that I've addressed the propaganda accusations and my general stance, let's dive into a specific example, my evolving position on the Ukraine-Russia war, to clear up any confusion about where I stand and why. Am I contradicting myself? My position on the Ukraine and Russia war. Many people throughout the years have been saying that I'm in Putin's pocket or I'm a little Putin's puppet, and I like to say things because of the fact that I'm being paid by one party or I'm being paid by the other party, but in fact, no, none of these claims are true. Just to be clear for a second, let's go back and see what I said about the war when it first started, because lucky for me, I have a public YouTube channel that I can go back on for years and years and see all my positions on these things because, like I said, all of these videos are public. And I have the link to it in my bio if you would like to check it out. Getting back to the Russia and Ukraine war, when it first started, I was very, very critical of Ukraine because there was a lot of questions at the time. Of course, all of these questions I eventually got answered throughout the years, and thus the war was going on, and I changed my opinions on those very things, which I made very public at the time, mind you, about 2 years ago. But let's just say it here. Obviously, Russia started the war in Ukraine by invading Crimea in 2022. Meanwhile, Joe Biden did absolutely nothing. Hello, Grandpa, did absolutely nothing to stop the war. Of course, which made the war last even longer and longer until, 2025. This is the year that we're in. It's now 3 years after the war initially started, and Russia still does not want to come to the table for any agreements to take place. I fully agree with Ukrainian's President Zelensky that, in fact, Russia did agree to terms and conditions in the past, and he did not follow through with these things. I get it. This can be fact-checked, which I did, and I have the info here. This is exactly why I fully agree with Trump, because of the fact that he was not part of the deal. Trump is right. The President of the United States' job is to be friendly with both sides so they can come to an agreement, or at least wanted to be friendly on both sides, until the press conference with Zelensky, which we covered. Zelensky did not read the room at all. He read it completely wrong. If you want to know what not to do as a foreign leader, that's your example. What you do not do as a foreign leader is come to another country and demand that they start doing stuff for you, especially when Trump already had a plan in which he was going to discuss this and make changes if you allowed him to, or he allowed you to, behind closed doors. As for right now, Zelensky could have ended the war at the time, but he chose not to. So now in America, we have a couple of choices to make. Do we want to continue to help Ukraine, or do we not want to? For me, this needs to come to an end. The war, it has to. And Trump feels the same exact way, which is why Trump is putting some pressure on Russian President Putin right now. I've said this in the past that we have a problem with Zelensky not holding an election. Then we also have to have the same exact problem with Putin not holding an election, which has been in charge longer, which I said last week. And Putin actually kills his political oppositions, mind you. Shifting our gears from international conflicts to domestic incidents, let's talk about a wild incident that just happened. Someone is trying to fly a plane into Trump's house. Someone tried flying into Trump's house. On Sunday, March 9, Air Force fighter jets intercepted a civilian aircraft violating restricted airspace near Trump's Mar-a-largo home, making it the 20th one since January alone. That's 2 months, which is 10 per month, mind you. According to the AP News, this occurring during Trump's Gulf round highlights ongoing security challenges with flares deployed to warn the pilot. This to me is the stupidest thing you could possibly do. Not only does mission control tell you that you are in restricted airspace, but you also should know where you're flying. Unless you don't, in which case you should not even be a pilot. Speaking of things coming off the rails, literally and figuratively, let's move on from someone nearly crashing into Trump's house to a bureaucrat bureaucratic shakeup that got people just riled up. The latest on TSA. Is TSA gone? On Friday, March 7th, the Department of Homeland Security announced that it will be canceling Transportation Secretary Administration's collective bargaining agreement and stop collecting union dues. According to Politico, this move is going to strengthen workforce agility and address issues with poor performance. Of course, this move was met with a lot of pushback from unions, as you would expect, some saying that this is an unprovoked attack, and others linking this whole situation to Project 2025's agenda to privatize the TSA, which I agree with. Privatize everything. All in all, this decision effectively could immediately impact TSA workers' rights and benefits, sparking debates over labor protections in federal agencies. While TSA's union drama is stirring up chaos at home, let's hop over to another mess unfolding on the global stage. Judge Ali's latest move to unfreeze foreign aid funds that the Trump administration has been sitting on. Is foreign aid unfrozen? Is this gonna look stupid? On Friday, March 7, Judge Amar H. Ali set a noon deadline for the Trump administration and aid organizations to clarify payment obligations. This is reported by the Washington Post and is part of an ongoing legal battle over the administration's freeze on foreign aid, with past court orders requiring payments for countries across the globe that just want to waste our money, but specifically for work that has already been done before February 13, 2025. While Judge Ali's deadline on foreign aid has the Trump administration scrambling, another big move from the president, pushing Dr. Marty Makary as the new FDA head, is stirring up its storm with the Senate hearing heating up over the weekend. There's a new head of the FDA. On Friday, March 6th, President Trump's pick to lead the FDA, Dr. Marty Makary, I think I'm saying that right, faced a Senate confirmation hearing, which is crazy to think that the president has to have people that run his administration go through the confirmation hearing in the Senate. But that's besides the point. Discussions about whether or not to let Dr. Markey get confirmed went on throughout the weekend, with senators harassing him on issues like abortion pills and vaccine policies. As noted by the New York Times, his responses were coined by some to sidestep the questions asked. The way I would put it is that it doesn't really matter. It does not matter what he thinks whatsoever. Trump already said that he wants to keep all of these things up to the states. So let it be at that. Let it be at the states. A federal ban would never be plausible, ever. And that's coming from a conservative. While the FDA confirmation circus has been eating up the whole entire weekend, here's something else that has got me and most of America ticked off. We lost an hour of sleep, and I'm pissed off. As everybody knows, yesterday we put the clocks forward 1 hour and we lost an hour of sleep. Certified eye bags right here. I do not get a lot of sleep, okay? I think that this is the stupidest thing that we do as a society, and the stupidest thing that we have ever came up with. Why would it ever be okay for somebody to take an hour away from sleep? Number one, I do not get enough sleep as it is. So why would we take an hour away? Doesn't make any sense. And two, it's stupid. Okay, yes, that's a reason. According to a survey conducted in 2023, 62% of people that were asked said that they do not support daylight savings time. So get rid of it. If 60% of America agrees on anything, that's rare. Okay, first of all. Second of all, get rid of it. It's just stupid. Okay, just because of the fact that you do not want kids going to school in the dark. Oh, the dark. Okay, there's something called a light and you should turn it on, okay? We put the clocks back an hour. That means that they get out of school in the dark. That means that they're still getting out or into school in some sort of darkness. Ooh, that's stupid. While I'm still grumpy about losing sleep thanks to daylight savings time, something way more serious just went on today. Shots fired near the White House, proving this Sunday's already off to a wild start. There is a shooting near the White House. On March 9th, 2025, which was yesterday, the United States Secret Service shot an armed man near the White House after a confrontation, reported by Reuters. The man, flagged as a potential suicide risk from Indiana, waved a gun, leading to a shooting, which was around midnight Sunday morning. The armed person is now at the hospital and his condition is unknown as of March 9th. From the chaos of the shooting near the White House yesterday to the ongoing mess in the Middle East, let's pivot to something I've been loud about: my take on Israel and why I stand where I do. Am I a Zionist? My opinion on the Israeli war. Of course, I've been very public about my support of Israel in the past year since it first started. Of course, this is exactly what split the Democrats apart, which made them not even make any sense. So they want to support Ukraine, but they do not want to support Israel, which makes no sense at all. But of course, here's my position. And when the war in Israel is over, Israel should start to pay back, or at least do favors for America to start to pay back the money money that we gave them. The same thing with Ukraine. If they pay back all of the money, then we have no problem at all, or at least do favors to start paying back some of the money that we gave them, then I will have absolutely no problem. Again, it's the same situation where your country is at war and you cannot have any sort of elections because of the fact that you're in the middle of fighting, and if you do hold an election, then the person that you are fighting will just come in and rig the election in their favor and have the opposition win unfairly. So in war, you cannot have elections no matter what country you're in. The same exact situation is happening in Israel. While I'm over here talking about foreign wars and who owes us what, back home, Speaker Mike Johnson dropped a funding bill that got everybody mad. Is everything getting defunded? Is the country gonna shut down? Speaker of the House Mike Johnson released a funding bill on March 8th. This will fund the government through September 30th, diverting a government shutdown that is not in anyone's favor. This bill, also known as a continuing resolution, increasing spending by $8 billion while cutting domestic spending by 13. Drawing Democratic opposition, this will ultimately cause a government shutdown and be blamed on the Democrats if they do not want to pass the bill. But given that particular division, it is most likely that it is not going to pass. With the funding bill threatening a shutdown, there's no surprise people are fleeing the pinch. Case in point, customer confidence just tanked to new lows, and I've got the details on why. Consumer confidence drops to new lows. As reported on March 7th, consumer confidence saw a sharp decline in February, dropping to 98.3 from 105.3, the largest monthly fall since August 2021, according to CNN. You know how CNN is. Consumer confidence refers to the degree of optimism or pessimism that customers feel about the overall state of the economy and their financial situation. It's a measure on how willing people are willing to spend their own money on goods and services, which, as you know, is a key driver of economic activity. While folks are at home tightening their wallets with consumer confidence plummeting, over in Europe, the European Union is throwing cash at defense like it's going out of style. Here's what that means for us. The EU is increasing defense spending. On March 8th, 2025, European leaders approved a plan to dramatically increase defense spending. As mentioned in NPR, that can only mean one thing and one thing only. Countries will start relying on other countries for support and aid, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It is a good thing because obviously we want to save our money in America, but it's also a bad thing because that will no longer make us the world superpower, which would mean that we will lose some of our dominance. With that being said, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you did enjoy this episode and you do want to see more, please like and subscribe down below because I do post new episodes of my show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we do post new shorts every single day. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and I hope they have a great rest of your day. Bye.